Chris Edmonds is a Detroit disc jockey
Stairway to Heaven.
whose specialty is finding secret recorded messages exhorting the devil by playing music popular with kids in reverse.
A lot of people hear the phrase, "My sweet Satan."
My sweet Satan. Shuffle the sheet, say that one bed. My sweet Satan. Walk you sheet. My sweet Satan. My sweet Satan. And one bed that does not sweet Satan.
My sweet Satan.
Hello, fellows. This week's big question is, do you have any other musical family members? This is under the assumption that you are a musical person yourself. Yeah. My answer is yes. And there's quite a few. I guess in my most immediate family, my mom is pretty musical. She taught piano for like 25 years and preschool music. Very active in the church band, which my brother plays bass for. So he plays bass too. Let's see, my sister does not play any instruments, but she likes music. But both of her children are in marching band. Her daughter plays flute and saxophone, and her son plays clarinet. My brother's son is an amazing pianist. So yeah, I guess it's really just my dad and my sister don't play any musical instruments. My kids have all at least attempted to play a musical instrument. Edgar played viola for like a year. Junior's played drums for a couple of years. And Charlie is playing trumpet. He's pretty good. So that's it for me.
Hasn't stuck with the kids yet.
What's that?
It hasn't stuck with the kids yet.
Not really. Charlie seems to be pretty taken with it. I mean, he's not like practicing all the time kind of thing, but I was playing trumpet at his age, and it wasn't until I was like 13 or 14 I started playing guitar and then bass that I was like, I'm not playing these other instruments. But
people I work with are always like, you're a musician. I want my son or daughter to start playing music. Like, what do you recommend? Like guitar, bass, drums? I'm like, get him an MPC. I mean, it's really not to be smart. It's what people will be playing in the future. Nothing interesting is going to be made probably on the guitar, bass, but if you get a kid an MPC, that's what there's a good chance they can bang on it. It's a fun instrument. And I tell people that, and for some reason, it's like I slammed a door on their head or something. They get really angry. They're like, no, a real instrument. It is a real instrument. Like, lots of people use them. So
yeah. I mean, I have people that say like, oh, your kids must all be musical. And I'm like, not really. And like, why not? And I'm like, well, I encourage them, and I always play music around them, and I'm always like singing randomly, but I'm not going to force my kids to do something just because like I do it. What about you, Dean?
Yes, I have two musical family members that come to mind. One is my grandfather on my mom's side, Terrell Ward Bynum, or as we grandkids called him, Pappy. He played guitar and banjo, and he was that's my mom's side of the family is from Alabama. And so Pappy was partial to bluegrass music. Early on, he played in a local group around Chester, PA, Aston, where my mom grew up, where they lived. I forget the circumstances why he came up this way from Alabama, but he was in a group called the Billy Stewart and his Orchestra. And I have a photo that I'm going to show right now. It's right here on the screen.
That's Billy Stewart, all right.
Yeah, that's him in the upper left with the big hollow body guitar. And it's a small orchestra, and I really think that the drummer's bass drum is pretty cool. I wonder who painted that. It's a nice little landscape scene. And he took me to a bluegrass festival in my teen years, where I got some wooden spoons to play. I remember family get-togethers when I was a kid for like holidays and stuff, and the guitars and the banjos would always come out. Him and some other distant relatives or friends of the family would be there, and they'd sing songs, like kid crowd pleasers, like She's Coming Around the Mountain and Mountain Dew and that kind of stuff. So, it was always good fun. Later in his retirement, he had a workshop in the basement, and he made kit guitars and banjos, and I have one in my possession, and I can send a picture of that so that you all can see what that looks like. So that's my grandfather. He's sadly deceased, passed away many years ago. And the other person I would like to talk about is my son, Victor. I know I've mentioned him and his band here previously. Victor he began playing drums in elementary school, and he continued through middle school and high school. And once he got to like high school, he sort of, he really transferred to the mallet instruments. He played marimba in the school band, and he also did piano and stuff for the concerts and whatnot. But also while in high school, he took up guitar and piano. We have a piano. I guess another person that I didn't really talk about was my mom's grandmother, who played piano in like church revival tent groups and stuff around the South way back when. I have her piano from the 50s in my dining room. So Victor started playing that, and when he started playing marimba, he could certainly play a tune on piano now. And he's far more talented than I am. And he's been in a few rock bands already. And he's now in one called Angel Envy. And they've been working on songs over the last year. And one of the things they do is they record a video for every song that they make. And that's because he has a video production company called Daggers Make Love. And he works at a recording studio in West Philly called Little Brother. And bands that record there can also like get videos made for their songs that they record there. So that's kind of like a cool thing that they do there. I'll mention there's three videos that he's made that I really like. Two are for his band. One is for a track called Jug, and another for a song that they do called Forlorn Cactus. I think I've linked to that one previously on Big Questions. And a third video that I like that they did for another artist named Noah Richardson, who did a song called Dead to Me, which is a great narrative video. You'll have to watch it to see how that turns out. So anyway, those are the two musical family artists, guests, people that I know, and that are great.
Dean, I may be mistaken, but I thought you told a story, and it might you might have just been there when someone else told it, about how I think it was your great grandmother was supposed to marry somebody who was coming over, and his friend came over with him, and his friend played the accordion, and she liked that guy better.
Yeah, that's my father's Italian side of the family. I can tell that story. It's not.
I dare you to tell that story.
Yeah. So my great grandmother from Sicily came over to the United States to Ellis Island when she was 16, I guess. And she came over because somebody in Western Pennsylvania in coal country agreed to pay her way as long as she would marry him when she got here. So when she arrived in Ellis Island, this guy from Western PA drove up to Ellis Island to pick her up, but he took his friend along with him, and now his friend played accordion. And when my grandmother got to the United States and went back to this Western PA coal town and got to know this guy and his friend who played the accordion, she liked the guy who played accordion better. So they worked out a deal where the fellow who eventually became my great grandfather paid off the guy who had paid for a way over to the United States. Hey, that's the way things worked back then.
She said he had a big accordion.
Yes.
Accordion means several things in Italy.
Anyway, yeah, that's that side of the family.
So let me think. I was kind of hoping for a lot more stuff like that, like more like my grandfather played the gourd back in the old country. Those are my favorite kind of things. You're like, I bet he wailed on. He was the Eddie Van Halen of the gourd. Okay, so we've mentioned my lounge singer cousin on the show before, and I don't feel like getting mocked again, so we're going to skip over that. So I am from, folks, as you know, I'm from what's called a show business family. My father is Rick Wakeman, keyboardist for Yes, and you probably know my mother as Poopsie on MILF Manor. You guys watch a lot of MILF Manor? You guys do? It's on the Learning Channel. It's educational. I'm hoping for a spinoff called Gilf Garage. Quick question here. Now, do music critics count as musical family members?
I'll allow it.
You'll allow it? Good, because my mom was the first music critic. She's a big influence on me, the first music critic I knew. I remember Debbie Boone's song. Oh, God, what was that called?
You Light Up My Life?
You Light Up My Life came on the radio, and my mom was like, what the hell is this shit? And it struck a chord with me. Also, my mom's the only person I know who actually yelled, "You suck," at a 5-year-old during a violin recital. My sister got over it. She was okay a couple weeks later. Actually, seriously, my father, speaking of the accordion, in the late 40s, early 50s, was a very gifted, when he was a young man, a very gifted accordionist. I inherited, although they made me write with my right hand, which has screwed up my handwriting for years. I inherited my left-handedness from my father, and my father is also, a little known fact, also a really good painter. But he was an accordion player when he was young, and we used to have, and I think my sister might still have it, a 45 of my father playing the accordion. It used to be you would go into a little like demo studio or whatever, and they put a mic down in the 50s and you would play. And so in the beginning it was like Rodney Linderman playing the accordion or something like that. And my father just wails on this thing. And it was really kind of cool. And oddly enough, the B-side of it is a cover of Dead Souls, which my father covered like 25 years before Joy Division even wrote it. Okay, going to be serious now, because this is a very sad story, and I am being serious about how sad it is. So my father had a beautiful accordion, and my grandparents were very cheap. So my father paid for that. Like every cent he could scrape up went into buying that big, beautiful accordion. My father went away for a little bit, and when my father came, back from being away for just a little bit, a couple days, he went by my grandparents' house to pick up his accordion. And my grandparents said, "We sold it." And my father said, "Why did you sell my accordion?" And my grandparents said, "Well, you were away." And my father, this is true, was like, "I was on my honeymoon." That's true. My father and mother went on their honeymoon. They were gone for like a week. And my grandparents sold my father's accordion. And he never was heartbroken. He never bought another one. He never picked one. I saw him one time play at a family picnic thing where somebody had one, and he picked. And I was really impressed. But so people, be better to your kids than my grandparents were to my father, because that's a heart-wrenching thing. They didn't encourage him to be an artist. They sold his accordion, so that's not good. And then I also have a niece who is a singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, touring musician, and I guess I'm proud of her. Yeah.
Yeah, before my dad passed away, he also played accordion and piano. And I kind of blame him for my interest in music in general. I did not play accordion, but I picked up piano probably because my dad played it. My mom also played piano before her fingers got too arthritic to play. And we do have a piano in the house. I grew up with an acoustic piano in the house. Not always in tune, but good enough. Let's see, my sister played trumpet in high school, but she didn't keep up with that. Though she plays bass now, and she plays drums. She's taking drum lessons. She plays bass for her church band, which I've never seen. I've never gone to her church to see her play. It's in New Jersey. And I guess I'm not that good of a brother to go see her. But she does play bass.
It's not the People's Temple Church, is it?
No. No, it's not the People's Temple Church. My youngest brother plays guitar and keyboards. He's actually played in bands that played shows that gigged around in Philly, and he moved to Virginia and he played in another band. I think in Philly, his band was called the Rocket Scientists. I might be wrong about that, but maybe you've seen them play. No.
You're a consistently bad brother, Joe. You don't know.
I've seen him play.
His brother did have a band for a while called Truman Peyote, which I used to love that name.
Truman Peyote, that may have been. I think the Rocket Scientists were before Truman Peyote, but I'm not sure. But I recorded a demo of one of them, so I should remember, but I don't. My nephew, one of my nephews, plays drums, and that's pretty much all I know about the musical members of my family.
Cool.
I was waiting for another accordion playing Western PA story. But I love that story. And he got on board with it.
Accordion in my story.
What's that?
I'm the only one that didn't have an accordion in my.
There is if you ever wanted to gift your father a new an old accordion, there is a wonderful shop in South Philadelphia that repairs and sells accordions. I only know this because my friend Mike Ace, friend of the band, picked up the accordion for a while, and when he decided to stop playing the accordion, he enlisted me to take it down to South Philadelphia and sell it to these people. They gave him a little bit of money for his old accordion. It needed a little bit of work. So
yeah, I gifted my father a very, 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 about a decade or so ago, a very, because maybe more than that, a very, 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 it's a beautiful accordion. It's absolutely, I don't know how much he played it, when I got it to him, because again, it's like some sort of aversion therapy. If my parents, if I came home and came in, actually I've had this happen when I broke up with different girlfriends, where I would come home and everything I owned was gone. It really does take a while to get over that. So I think if I came home and my accordion, my prize instrument was gone, I think that it does shock him a little, when he touches one. But yeah, I was glad I got him one. I got him super nice one that
All right. Should we do recommendations, I guess?
Oh, why not?
What the hell?
Excuse me. For my recommendation, are you a musical family member? If not, why not take up a musical instrument? If you've been thinking about it, just do it. Like, you're not too old. Stop. Excuse me. Just start an instrument if you feel like it.
My recommendation this week is to get active in your local political scene, get involved with local elections, seek out information about the candidates that are running. We've got primaries coming up here in Pennsylvania. Attend meet and greet for the candidates that are running. And once those candidates, hopefully the ones that you voted for, are elected, you need to follow through and attend, in my case, things like borough meetings and you need to hold those elected officials accountable for their actions. So I recommend you get involved in your local political scene.
Okay, so my first recommendation, a little out of order this week. I usually start with music, but Melissa's musical too. I'm going to start with there's a YouTube channel called Your Favorite Band Sucks, which is always fantastic. I'm going to heavily recommend. It's about an hour and a half long. It's an episode called Ticketmaster Sucks, and so does Pearl Jam, Taylor Swift, Beyonce, ... I do not go to any venue that's owned by Live Nation. I'm not a fan of Live Nation. Live Nation and Ticketmaster, a lot of people don't know, they're the same thing. I will not even if I really want to see a band, if it's a Live Nation venue, I don't go there. And I know a lot of people watching don't do the same. But here's the thing, as you will learn from this video, Live Nation also often owns the calendar at the smaller clubs. Not only do they own the calendar, who's playing there, but they have bought a lot of controlling interest in smaller production companies, which explains why a lot of people from all over the country have been telling me, we used to have a little production company here that put on punk rock shows, and now it's all like pop. Or it's all the guy, the 40-ish guy in the Bad Brains t-shirt with the folk guitar, and you're like, oh, he's going to tell us his life story. So that is pretty frightening. And they also go into stuff like how all the big acts are basically do not want to change any of this because they're getting their share of this. For example, everybody used to talk about how great Radiohead were for putting out an album that you could pay what you want. Guys want to know how they did that? They used to hold back bunches of tickets, and then those tickets would be sold to the brokers, what we used to call scalpers, on the secondary market, what we used to call scalping. So it's an amazing video. It's two guys that know what the hell they're talking about. They're taking apart that Senate hearing. They wail on that guy in the Senate hearing, the musician who stopped by, and it's like, well, let me tell you, I've never gotten a cut of these, the ticket fees. And they're like, yeah, you're not, nobody knows who you are. You're not big enough. So it's entertaining and it's really energetic and you will learn a lot. And you actually might leave it hating Live Nation as much as I do, which is an accomplishment. All right, up next, band or musician. I want to give someone I just discovered, a Philadelphia musical act called Catherine Moan. That's Moan, like Moan. And Catherine Moan there's a new single out. First side is called Pavement 2, and the second time is called My Heart. Dan, you like ABBA. And I'm going to tell you right now, Catherine Moan's very poppy. I do like a lot of dark pop music, and it's like the dark mirror image of ABBA. It's ABBA's dark family member musician. Really, really good stuff. If you're going to see Corin at Yolana's on the 28th, Catherine Moan will be opening up, so you want to get there early. I think Yolana's is like going to be the new hangout. That's my theory, because they've pretty much closed everywhere else that I used to hang out. And then finally, in a little segment of our show we like to call A Man and a Bear Can't Always Get Along, I want to recommend for you the Scary Bear Attacks channel. Yes, it's a real thing on YouTube. And of course, I gravitated towards it. I don't know if they let the bears loose in MILF Manor, but one can hope. So those are my recommendations for this week.
My recommendation is get outside and enjoy the beautiful spring weather while you can before the brutal summer comes.
Unless there's a tornado.
Oh, then go to the basement.
Bear attacks on the Jamestown colony. There's a bear, and I hope he doesn't follow me. Oh my God, I think he's going to swallow me. Bear attacks on the Jamestown colony.
We should say like a clue to it now for the people who watch this, so they know in advance.
Tune in next week, and we're going to tell you something we legally can't tell you now. There you go. I mean, we could probably legally tell you now, but we still get our legs broken by some guy who plays the accordion. Say hi to the boys from Jersey for me.